I was teaching anatomy, so it's important to enjoy and to display the different forms, the softer forms, the hard form of bone and tendon. As I say, in drawing or in painting the figure, you explain these things and the viewer, it is hoped, feels them inside, feels the weight of the figure, the mood of the figure. Sensual things, coloured birds, the dog's fur, the smoothness of the skin, the pattern of cloth. To be able to paint these things is to be able to offer you the opportunity to savour, to enjoy these things. It's a display of the skills of the artist. We call our schools, our universities, academies, and the earliest academia was Greek. And we look to a pre-Christian era. We Europeans, or people who function within a European tradition, we look to the Greeks for the origins of the work we do. You'll see in this exhibition elements of classicism which can be traced back to 2000 years BC and the Greek culture. Now, as I say to the students, the nude, the naked body, perfect naked body as it were, was seen as godlike by the Greeks. And we are infected, or you might say reinfected, because the Renaissance, and you'll see examples of work that traces its elements back to Renaissance, it's a well-known story, was the kind of rediscovery of this pre-Christian, some would say golden era. I'm sure it was as horrendous as any other era, but this idea of art where the human being was seen as godlike. The Christian era, the Judeo-Christian eras kind of occluded that, kind of found problems with that, but at the time of the Renaissance we find a rediscovery, a rebirth of this. And so, from the earliest days of European Enlightenment and the Renaissance, you see a rediscovery of the unembarrassed staring at ourselves. It's looking at ourselves in the mirror, freed from prejudice. I mean, I'm not very sure if that could be claimed in every case. There's a prurience about it, there is an excitement about it, there's sexual content to it, obviously. But I think we show ourselves to be grown up if we can stare and understand and, in a secular way, worship the beauty of it. I teach anatomy where we explode, disassemble, strip down the figure literally to the skeleton and rebuild so that we can understand the extraordinary poetry of the engineering of the body. Do I find prurience or shock in this? I don't think so. I think that people who are interested in art, people who have a mind to understand why art is created, people who are interested in the human condition, understand why we remove the clothes and show the figure as an artistic expression, because we can identify with the figure. If we see the figure in pain, if we see the figure at play, if we see the figure posing in a way that is in some way nostalgic, we can identify with the figure. We see ourselves, and there are darn few opportunities to gaze at each other. As I observe, and I think you'd agree with me, we get to stare at our lovers or our children. Those we love, and well, not even those, certainly not family. You stare into the eyes of a stranger and you see how far you can get. You have a stranger staring at you and you find yourself uncomfortable. But in art, we are allowed this. And why do we do it? We do it to learn something about ourselves, about how we identify with other human beings, how we suffer, or as it were, suffer pain or pleasure with them, the loneliness, the happiness, whatever emotions, unnamed emotions, can be observed in the figure stripped bare. And so it has a place in artistic endeavour. It never seems to appalled. People are fascinated by it. Whether or not they feel embarrassment, that is more a reflection on themselves than on the artist who is striving to express these things. And as I was saying to you, I teach this subject sometimes in the Middle East, in Arab culture, and in the Far East, in Japanese or Chinese culture. And all cultures have in their past the need quasi-scientifically or aesthetically to look at the figure, the naked figure very often, or lightly draped, for the reasons I suspect that I've given, that we as a society need to stare at ourselves.